Yeah.
This is just holding up my laptop a little bit. So it's at like eye level. I was like, well, I've got to use a Rodriguez cigar box for that. It only makes sense.
Well, I'm actually using a rock, if that makes it.
That's how it's propped up? I dig it. So how you doing? It looks beautiful there.
I've been here in the backyard, just hanging out.
Very
Friday,
nice.
So salute, cheers to you, gentlemen. There we go.
Oh yeah, we're drinking. This is actually, you know what? This is a little late for me. Usually it starts about 3 o'clock on a Friday. So this is a nice change of pace. So we were talking earlier, and you said that your shop, that location's currently being built out. We didn't get much into it, but in terms of construction, you're actually doing some work there right now.
Yeah, we're in the process of expanding operations down in Key West. It's really exciting, though it's definitely bittersweet, at the moment. A lot of people are, suffering a lot through this. So we haven't really reached out and, told a lot of people about it and stuff. So we're just kind of respecting that and others. And we hope that we can continue to move forward together. And that's all we can hope for.
Yeah, and so this in Key West, when we were talking earlier, and I told you that a partner of mine at work was supposed to go down to Key West into the Keys, and they kind of diverted because Florida and that area are essentially on shutdown again, for the most part, right?
Yeah, that's where we're at right now, and here in Key West and also in Florida. It's definitely a transitionary time for everyone, especially business owners. We hope that everyone can I'd say weather the storm as much as they can and continue to move forward, man.
So how does that impact what you do from a touring perspective? Are you under the same conditions that bars and restaurants are, or are you allowed to move forward, or are you making the decision not to?
Well, I'm allowed to move forward. We're just not allowing a lot of people at once into the store.
Okay,
and everyone is using proper protocol and whatnot. But right now, it's not heavy in traffic, which is okay. Here locally, on the island, it hasn't been, insane. It's been so far moderate, and so we're continuing to keep on, praying that things continue to lighten up and people, are responsible for what they do.
Right.
As far as, the hygiene and making sure that they're practicing the methods.
Right.
And that's what we can do. Control.
Right. So I have a lot of interest in the background of Rodriguez. And I'm going to preface, and I'm just going to start off with the fact that, and just a little bit of a story. I got turned on your cigars by Dave from cigarclub.com. Like for him, it was like the next, he's like, this is the hot thing. Just try these cigars. Let me know what you think. And of course, Chris and I have been approached by numerous amounts of people that have said the same thing. And unfortunately, the buildup doesn't match the experience sometimes. It ends up being a little lackluster. But there was a moment of which, in this very location, I smoked one of your cigars. And as I was smoking it, Chris was sitting next to me. And I was like, holy shit. Literally, I think was my response. I was like, I don't know why this is as good as it is, but I told Chris, I was like, this is in your wheelhouse. This is your kind of flavor profile. He tried the cigar and was literally like blown away by it.
Like I put down my Drew Estate like Blondie.
Chris put down his Drew Estate acid for one of your cigars, so you should be tickled and thrilled. So
yeah.
So this is the first experience of being turned on by Rodriguez, not really knowing anything about the organization beforehand. And I've got to say, Dan, it was like I immediately became a Rodriguez dick rider. That is just like, it was like, all right, And I text Dave almost immediately, and I was like, what in the hell is this? And do you have more of them? Which he did, so that was good. So he was like the introductory piece to us. And then all of a sudden I just became enamored, infatuated, probably a little bit obsessive, probably a little bit stalkish in there too. And it's like I had to know more. So I want to take this opportunity, and I've done my research and I know about the history a little bit, but I want to take the opportunity just to get that information from you. So from at inception, for your grandfather, the migration from Cuba to Key West, and the build out of the organization as it is today, tell our audience specifically like how this all came about.
Well, it's I'll definitely shorten it up. A little bit of history there.
Right.
And, it all began with how my family, and as well as many Cuban families, started in the tobacco industry in Cuba, growing tobacco and selling it off to manufacturers as well. My grandfather, on that side, he was a businessman. He was an American franchisee of Texaco. So both sides of the family were in the business trade in Cuba, but my grandmother's side was more involved with growing. And that's what they did from 1947 to 61 was, grow and harvest and fermentate these filler leaves. And we primarily grew Corojo, Criollo, and Santa Espiritu seed lines, which is where my family is from, in the province called Las Villas. And really well-known area for growing filler tobacco. Conditions were a little bit warmer there than in Western Cuba, with a little bit higher elevation, which is good for binders and wrappers. But we specifically grew filler tobacco, and that's where it started. And in 1961, things changed, as we all know that story. And we were able to leave and get over here in 1971. 13 years later, my grandfather realized that he's not a doctor in the United States. He's not an accountant in the United States. He's not a contractor. He's a man that knows about tobacco, and started this company in 1984 and on the manufacturing side of things. And if you want to fast forward to a little bit now to our daily operations, he kept it very, very local, very simple. He was a man that wanted to provide for his family and keep things very, very simple. That's who he was. And then around 2009, I stepped in, graduated from college, and I came back home to work. And I was selling cars for GM, Cadillac, and good job, a lot of sales experience. But I didn't see myself in the tobacco business. I wanted to work in the professional pharmaceutical industry. Here and my mom has a lot of ties in the medical industry, so it was really a segue in, I would say, very easily, if you want. Didn't quite enjoy corporate America at that time, because you're sending resumes all over the place, and the results are not where you want. So I decided to step into this business, and at that time I saw my grandfather around 78, 80 years old, and I started sitting down and talking with him and asking him questions, and he started asking me questions like, why do you want to do this? You're 25 years old. Why do you want to do this? I've been working this since I was 15, and I'm asking you why. And the reason, there's more than one. And I think the main reason is when I started figuring out the identity of Key West and the history behind Key West with cigar manufacturing, I started finding out that there was something special here. And the special amount of history that was here at that time was, the cigar industry started in 1831 on this island. By 1875, there were over 30 million cigars being produced here. Manufacturers, that started Ybor City, the man that started Ybor City, Vicente Martinez Ybor, made cigars here.
Yeah.
Before Tampa was even thought of. You know, that man made 10.2 million cigars here in 1875. He was the reason why it all went to Tampa, because back then they were importing the leaves from Cuba, making the cigar in Key West, and then now sending it to Tampa to put it on a railroad. Distribution.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Fire of 1886, which was considered industrial espionage because there was so much competition here in Key West in the cigar industry. That's what they thought would cause the fire. Then after that, you had the hurricane of 1891 that almost ripped this place apart. And then people and manufacturers started realizing that, well, you have so much risk being an island in the middle of the ocean, and every year you have to worry about hurricanes. So Ybor smartened up and realized that, hey, if my distribution channel's there, why don't I just move there? And then from, you know, the early 1800s to the early 1890s to the mid 1890s, you know, transitionary movement was heading in that direction. You know, about 3,500 jobs left Key West from 1892 to 1896. All went to Tampa, Ybor City. You know, so once I started figuring out that the origin of this place was wrapped around cigars, I started falling in love with this business. And then once I started realizing the history that my family was a part of in Cuba, then I really started getting more involved with this because there's something there. And I fell in love with the fact that our tradition, our I would say our how we started was where the cigar industry was invented. So I found that pretty intriguing. And this is around 2009, 2010, and I jumped full-fledged right in and started learning about the history of our family and where it started, and becoming heavily influenced to now represent Key West with a quality product. And so from there, I became a little bit obsessed, really, with the direction of where I wanted these products to go. And today, 2020, I'm very proud to now tell you that we have expanded operations to Nicaragua. Our team over there is doing fantastic work. You know, I don't call them our team, I call them our family. You know, it's you know, every person, you know, means something, you know, extreme to us, because the real people in this industry for me are, you know, the people that are hard at work every day in the trenches and the tables, making a product that bears your name. And I think they get overlooked a lot. And when we do go, you know, and sit down and talk with cigar rollers all the time, I really want to know who they are, you know. And that's one of the things that my grandfather bestowed upon me, was a love for this industry, and not just to come out with a cigar, to come out with the cigar to say, hey, I got a cigar company. Here we go. It's the best thing ever. No. I think it's upon one manufacturer that that if they love the industry so much that they want to put some quality on the table and respect the industry in that manner, and keeping it consistent and affordable. And that is what we've been trying to focus on here for the last 10 years. And it's been, I would say, humbling to hear people like yourselves and the kind words that you use to now represent our product and our experience that was delivered. And that to me is what it's about. It's about now what the consumer is enjoying, that experience that when they come to Key West, they meet the owners, they meet the people behind, and they have a great cigar, an experience that ties in with history. And that's the main thing of what we're at right now, is getting these products to a certain level to now start plucking away little by little in the mainstream industry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so one of the things that I really admire, and the story that you tell, it kind of answers my question as far as the representation of Key West, because your branding is very much tied to Key West, Rodriguez Key West, not just Rodriguez Cigars. It's not just the location of which you're in, It's the history that surrounds all of it, which I didn't know. So that's one of my questions was like, why so heavy on the Key West? And that to me makes sense now. The way you articulated it, I go, okay, this rich history, the family tie to it, it's where you're at, it's where you call home. That's like the tie-in to the location to me is equally important to the branding of what you're doing than just saying, hey, it's Rodriguez Cigars, which is really cool. I love that. And also, so Dave gave us a little bit in just conversation that we're having in terms of the Nicaraguan experience. And he said the same thing, which I love and admire so much in terms of the family aspect. He's like, it's being introduced, like you're a part of the family now. It's not so much, hey, this is a contractual agreement. It's a handshake thing. Yeah, let's produce some cigars and let's see what happens. Which is a lot of what contract manufacturing in the cigar industry is and has been and will be for a long time. The fact that it's represented to you in such a connected way is really freaking cool. I would say these days is insanely unique because I don't think that exists much. We've talked about it on this podcast numerous amounts of times. That if I have $50,000 and I say I want to get a cigar made, there's people who are going to make a cigar for me. They're going to say, yep, absolutely, let's make a cigar. But what's the meaning behind it? Is it meaningful? What's the consistency? What's the quality? What's my connection to that process? And you have that intimate connection to that process, specifically in the factory of which you operate out of. And that's really cool. I actually think today that's more unique than it ever has been.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I bookmarked.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah, I bookmarked something you said a little bit earlier too, and I think this will. It seems to be a common thread for a lot of people that get into the industry. But I feel like people, they work like for you. You worked in the pharmaceutical industry, and then you transition to a passion or something that you love to do. But I feel like that is almost the crux of this industry. It's like you end up working a job that you end up not loving, but then it gives you the means or the opportunities to dive into the things that you do love. And that always seems to be a common thread in cigars. And I'm not sure if it's from just being, I don't know, serendipitously introduced to cigars or meeting the people, but it's always like that seems to always be the avenue where people are like, I do this for a living. I don't want to do that anymore. I want to like jump into this thing that I love, but it's like the means to it. It's very odd. It seems to be the entrepreneurial spirit where I'm going to do this job until I'm ready to make that leap into something that I do love. It's cool to see.
Well, and that's see how windy it was. I was going to do this from the boat. Yeah, that's why I didn't do it from the boat.
I'm glad you didn't do it from the boat. I told you earlier I'd have been pissed off.
Well, I mean, to answer your question, and to respond in a way that I was taught to respond is you have to know why you're in this. We're not making protein shakes here. Okay, we're making a celebratory item.
Yeah.
So we have to make sure that the effort, not necessarily on the rolling table, but the effort, okay, in the warehouse is aging the tobacco, in the farm growing the tobacco, all right, in the tobacco barns fermentating it. I mean, there's so many steps where you have to show love, and if you can't do the first step right, if you're not set up to do the first step right, you're not going to get to the last step to where you want. And the capabilities are there for some, and capabilities are there for none, and some capabilities are there for a lot of people. But for me, I wanted to sit back and I wanted to analyze the cigar industry before you jump full-fledged in there.
Yeah.
And get a feel for how things operate. And get a feel for price points, and get a feel for how and trends and sizes and blends and all that stuff. But going back is the core reason is because my family's name is on the cigar, and the city that I live in, born and raised in, has a rich history with cigar making. And I want to respect not only the cigar industry, but I want to respect the island that I'm from by pushing out a product that people can say, that is quality. That is quality. they're doing something right down there.
Creating a legacy.
That to me is the foundation, you know, because let's just face it, you make cigars, you want to promote it. Okay, great. For us in Key West, when people come down and visit us, the experience of the industry is what we want to portray to people. Not just sitting and smoking a cigar and, hey, what's up? Let's hang out. No, but explaining to you how this process occurs and what goes beyond or behind the scenes that you don't see, and the questions being asked and answered by the owners. The consumers are asking these questions. We're answering them instead of the internet answering for them. You know, so it's that connection of the experience and being able to now see people from all over the country, okay, on a daily basis, you know, from all over walks of life.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and the first thing that we want to show them is that we got you. You finally walked into a cigar store that is going to take care of you, going to show you a lot of knowledge, show you a lot of respect, okay, and show you an experience. And that's what it's about.
So in terms of your cigar being represented, your cigars, your brand being represented in the marketplace, what's the long-term vision of the organization as far as exposure of the brand? I mean, how do you get this product in people's hands?
Sure. Well, we do have a lot of, you know, outlets where these products can be purchased. When I say a lot, I don't mean thousands. You know, when I say a lot, they're spread throughout, you know, areas in the United States. But we understand the challenges of now going into stores and now being around people, and we're starting to see how, you know, our website can allow people to now purchase these products, you know, directly off of their device. And that is something extremely important, because being that we're so isolated on an island in the middle of the ocean, you know, there's only a certain amount of space where you could put cigar stores in volume, right?
Sure.
Right.
You can have a couple of them here, but you got to hit the mainland to get them all.
Right.
So our model down here is a little bit different. And again, it's all coming back to now releasing the Kraken when it's ready to be released.
Yeah.
You know, and not pushing it all over the place and selling and pushing and pushing and selling and pushing. But what do you have 2 or 3 years from now that's a better product or a better system or a better infrastructure? We're so worried about selling, but what are we planning 3 years from now in regards to now being able to purchase a product that's a year and a half, 2.5, 3.5 years old from the manufacturer direct?
Yeah, and you kind of answered a question that I have, which you keep answering questions before I can ask them, which I actually appreciate. But that is, you seem very thoughtful and intentional in terms of releasing your cigars and putting them into the marketplace. I know this through conversation, and I know this just about the cigars that have been released. And one of the things that I appreciate is that it appears to be no rush to market. The thoughtfulness that goes behind it, the intentionality, I think is something that we don't often see in this industry enough, where, you know, there's some brands and there's some organizations, and I'm not saying it's right, wrong, or indifferent. You know, there's certain obligations of quotas to hit, and it's like, hey, we've got to market this thing. We're so many releases in a year. I think what gets lost in that is the purity of the process. And it seems like one of the things that you guys have down is the purity of the process, which I really appreciate, because cigars like this get made, and they're ones of which I smoke and go, holy shit, like this is insane. It's released at the exact moment of which it should be released. It's at its best form, and it's for people who are cigar, I don't want to say experts, but cigar smokers, folks that smoke often. and even ones who wouldn't would appreciate everything that goes into this cigar. And the outcome is a wonderful experience. I think that's amazing.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. Thank you for the kind words again. And to your point, it's one of these things that I have to hold a promise to, to my grandfather. He told me not to rush, and he told me that when I was about 28 years old. Okay, so time is definitely on my side, and for us, we feel that 4 quarters is more valuable than 100 pennies.
Yeah.
Okay. And if that makes sense in regards to having better and lesser quantity, I'll take that.
Right.
Yeah. On one side, what's interesting from a consumer's perspective, which I definitely admire your approach to it. It's like we're so damn used to, like, every year going, what are you coming out with next? Are you going to PCA? Do you have any new cigars you're going to bring out? Are you doing any limited releases? Are you doing any TAA releases? And from a consumer perspective, that kind of represents a good majority of consumers, where they're always expecting like something new from every brand every single year. But to stay strong to your vision, to make sure that you're building quality cigars that we're just pumping out something just to meet the demand of some cigar snob that just like wants to see something new, is very commendable. Very commendable.
Well, and that's the complexity of this industry. There's different platforms, there's different ways, and in all retrospect, it just comes down to the overall backbone of the company. What is it that they want to achieve? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And being that we're in an international hotspot, I'm not in a rush to go wholesale. I'll be honest. I'm not in a rush. I want to make sure that we do things right.
Yeah.
And prior to our conversation, we were talking about, making blends and earlier on the call, but it's funny that, the bro here mentioned it again. We feel that, keeping things interesting and putting things in front of people is something that is a necessity. Question is how much throughout the year or every few years are you going to do it? And what is the motive behind that release? Is it here for temporary reasons to engage in new clients? Or is it here for it to stay and only to be remembered? That's key. Is it here to be remembered, okay? Or is it here temporary? Simple as that.
Yeah.
So what you've created thus far, these aren't limited releases. Everything that you've come out that's hit the marketplace, these are here to stay, essentially, right?
Correct.
Flagship.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, correct. And we've been around since 1984, so we have a lot of blends in the vault.
Oh yeah,
and,
I can only imagine. I've been led to believe that there's a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah. But again, you can't saturate to saturate.
Right.
Everything has to be in a timely manner. And this industry is such an incredible industry, and it's crazy to hear people say, well, it's a cigar industry, less people are smoking. Well, okay, that's your opinion. I get that, but there's reasons why people smoke. There's reasons why people get a sense of pleasure, especially during a time like this.
Of course.
If you can get a split second, if you can get 45 minutes to an hour of forgetting about what the hell's going on in a cigar, can you actually allow you to escape and do that? Heck, I think this is the right time to maybe enjoy one.
Amen.
Yeah.
Seriously.
If there's any other time.
Oh my God.
Now is the time to give you a split second of pleasure, split second of wow, this is a great, great cigar, great experience that I'm having, and that's the beauty of this industry.
Of course.
There's so many great cigars out there. There's so many great cigar companies out there that do it the right way, and one thing that you notice with all these cigar companies that are doing it the right way is that all of them share the same DNA. They all have whatever it takes to reach that level of quality and to maintain that. All of them have that DNA. They're not getting lucky.
Right. Oh yeah.
They're not getting lucky.
I agree with you there.
They're doing what they need to do. You know what I mean? And I was taught to love that. I was taught to appreciate that, because they're respecting the cigar industry by pushing something of caliber on the shelves. Period.
Yeah, I agree with you in terms of the complexities of the world right now. Any sort of escape you can get. And it's not to forget, it's just to remove temporarily, right? Because we all wake up the next day, the sun rises the next day, it's a new day, it represents new challenges. But I agree with you in terms of this is the ability to escape kind of the harshness of the world that everybody deals with, right? You have a pandemic that you're dealing with now. We've got all kinds of the racial injustices that are, been brought about throughout the United States. There's a lot of turmoil that everybody's seen in the recent months. And I think everybody deserves that time to be able to escape. Again, not to forget, but to escape for a moment and to derive some pleasure from something. That's me with cigars probably 4 or 5 times a day, as I'm sure it is with you and just what you've represented in your brand. It's I think the world needs more of that. And this is a great access and avenue to get that kind of experience. I mean, that's one of the reasons, and we've talked about it numerous amounts of times, ad nauseum. This is the pleasure that I get from this is not just smoking the cigar itself and saying, oh, this is a really good cigar. It's the escape that I get from everything else going on in my life. Every individual is dealing with something different, but this allows a release from that, which is an amazing experience. Again, like you said, even if it's for 45 minutes or an hour, that can make a profound difference in someone's life in that particular moment, to be able to just exhaust all of the issues that they're dealing with. It's one of the only things I know that can do that in this kind of way. You could kind of say drinking does that, right? The consumption of alcohol, which I love. I love bourbon. That's my all-time favorite thing to drink. But cigar smoking to me is on a whole different level. And that's why we always get excited as far as people who don't smoke that want to learn about it and want to be introduced to it. Chris and I get super giddy. We're oh my God, let me tell you about this. This is the experience that can be derived from this thing. This premium hand-rolled tobacco that comes straight from the ground. Let me tell you what this can do for your life. It's pretty incredible. There's really nothing like it.
No. Good stress relief.
It's something that I wasn't brought up into. I didn't, was taught how to roll cigars when they were 10. I just wasn't taught, and that is the exact thing that I started realizing, about this industry, is that there's more to it. And a lot of people, and the majority of people, don't know because they haven't been exposed beyond cutting the cap and lighting the cigar.
Right.
You mentioned something about these times, and I want to share with you probably my most favorite memory to this day of our cigar ruling tour. May I share that with you?
Yeah, of course.
Go.
Okay.
Can I close my eyes?
What's up?
Can I close my eyes? I want to envision this.
Oh man.
Okay.
All right. So we offer a cigar ruling tour that we show people how to manufacture cigars, and they get a really good kick out of it. And they're deveining tobacco, and they're putting the wrapper on the cigar, working on the filler, and we're going through the stations and the steps, right? So it was an early day or early tour. It was an early in the morning tour, and it was a quiet morning. And I had about 5, 8, it was about 5 to 6 people on the tour. And this gentleman comes in with his wife, you know, lovely people. You know, he was African-American man. She was a Caucasian white lady, right? And unfortunately, the man was blind. So I'm thinking to myself, how am I supposed to conduct this tour? So what we did was ensure that this gentleman, now mind you, we're dealing with someone that cannot see and how to make cigars, right? I took this man on every single side of our store, and I wanted to take him from this corner to this corner, back there, into this corner, into back there, and I had him touch so many things, tables, chairs, presses, everything, because I wanted him to feel the environment. I wanted him to know what we were about to do. So we're instructing this gentleman on how to make cigars, okay? And I'm a little nervous at this time because, you know, I'm explaining to him, okay, put this leaf down here, put this leaf down here, and I'm looking at this guy. And I'm so impressed by how this man's sense of touch is spot on. And he's touching the tobacco, and, you know, he's telling me, yeah, this is a little bit lower on this side. It needs cigars. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. So he puts the cigar there. He makes the cigar. He takes the cigar out of the mold. You know, I hadn't really, you know, helped him too much. He was relying on touch. This man rolled a hell of a cigar, man. I'm telling you, it was incredible.
That is awesome.
I mean, this guy literally was, you know, doing exactly as I say with his hands as I was saying it. Okay? But the real message was clear to me that day, is that this gentleman was blind, has never seen his wife, and they are from 2 separate ethnic races. And they are married together, and this man has never even seen his wife. He has only talked to her and held her hand and able to touch her.
Right.
So during this time, I'm just thinking of how beautiful this situation is, for the beauty that it is for what it is, right? I sat down, smoked cigars with that gentleman, smoked cigars with the lovely lady, and really sat back and realized that this is why people enjoy cigars, because we cut and light them the same,
Right,
and smoke them the same. It's about the social setting with the people that are there in the moment with you while we're enjoying this this product. And I can't take that memory out of my head. I think about it every day.
Yeah,
How beautiful and how strong it was at that moment. Never experienced anything like that before. And I'm just sitting at, you know, and I'm just like, wow, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. And that was something that I'll never forget.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. Like, you make a good point. Like, there's no social barriers. There's no gender barriers. Those things really don't exist in cigars at its purest form.
They shouldn't.
Right. And there are instances where it does occur. I mean, we've talked to other podcast folks and other experts in the industry where it's, you know, damned if it does because it never should. But there's a uniqueness that we get to experience every time we go to the lounge, and that's, I get to integrate myself socially with folks that are from all different walks of life. That is, to me, so incredible, right? Like, you get to hear people's stories, but the commonality that we all get is in this.
Absolutely.
In that moment, that we're all connected together. And that is the most incredible thing about this industry to me. And it's created an attachment for us over a long period of time. I've been smoking since I was a wee little guy. And I don't mean wee little guy like I'm 6 years old puffing on a cigar. But I started smoking when I was probably 18, 19 years old, and have been smoking religiously every day since then. That has not changed in my life, and I don't suspect that's going to change as I age, hopefully well into my later years. This is going to be a habit of which is going to be something I do every single day, because that's the kind of experience that I like to get, you know, to derive from cigar smoking.
Yeah.
very, very incredible. It's amazing.
Yeah, and that's probably one of the most rewarding things about my job is that any given day, it doesn't matter. There are people that come from all different races, backgrounds, and cities and countries all over the world, that it's being able to sit down with someone you don't know. They're from the other side of the country or the other side of the world, saw you on TV or saw you on the website, made it a point to make it the first stop for them to come to your store.
Right.
Dude, that's everything. That's why I wake up in the morning, bro. That's why I do it. Because that diversity is what makes us special.
Right.
Okay. Is being able to sit back and enjoy a cigar with people who support you and have a coffee with them or a glass of rum, you know, that's everything right there, you know?
Of course. So when you're doing these tours and people are coming in, I'm curious from a consumer perspective, and I'm sure you get a lot of folks who that experience teaches them a lot because maybe their knowledge base is lower level. So what questions are you often asked, and what things maybe do you get to debunk as people come into these stores?
I'm so glad you asked this question, dude, because this is such a good question. The biggest question that I get asked every single day: what's the difference between your cigars and Cuban cigars? I'm like, these are made in Cuba. These are made in Nicaragua.
Yeah.
And they're like, come on, give me more than that. I'm like, why'd you wear that shirt today? Because you felt like it. Why are you smoking that cigar? Because you want to.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's what you think is for you. Now, I'm a man that I like the varieties of life, right? I like to try all kinds of stuff. See, that's the only way one will actually know. Okay? That's the only way one will actually know. And you get a lot of surprises in this industry, man. There's a lot of cigars out there that not a lot of people know about that are bangers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know? that from other companies too as well. You know, cheers, doing great things. You know, that's the rewarding part, is when you got something you're comfortable, you smoke, and people enjoy it with you. You know, how can you measure a man's success?
Do you think that was a matter of naivety from maybe a lack of knowledge on their part, or do you?
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. You know, we want to make, you know, people comfortable and realize that, hey, you know what? Cuba is 90 miles away. That's where they invented, you know, cigar smoking. Okay. So it kind of puts pressure on us to push out a better product. You know what I mean? Because you're close to the motherland. You got to push out a great product. Okay. Period. No matter what it is. You know, and I've accepted that pressure, because that's the question that I get asked the most, because they're right there and it's like they can almost taste it.
Right.
You know? So we have to be reserved, and we have to make sure that they're comfortable. And, you know, I have a rule, man. If somebody walks into my store and they don't want to buy a cigar, I give them one straight up. And they're like, no. I'm like, yes. Here you go. Here's a card. Have a great day. Welcome to Rodriguez Cigars. All right. Nice to meet you.
Noted. You
know what I mean? Straight up. I don't have the whole back and forth. Oh, because of this and because of that. No.
Right.
I will.
Here's a cigar, bro. Smoke it.
I will come into your store dressed in many different attire. You will not recognize me. And I use that strategy.
I won't recognize you if you cut your hair, but if you go in there with the same haircut, I'll know exactly who you are, bro.
Yeah.
That's cool though. So like in the experience overall, what do you want people to know and to feel when they leave your?
Well, on this tour, people are going to hear the Latin music. They're going to smell the coffee. They're going to smell the tobacco. They're going to play a part of a unique piece of history because we're one of 45 remaining domestic manufacturers left in the country. You know, when people take this tour, they're actively preserving history. And I say that because we are the last manufacturer left of 1831, of when the cigar industry started on this island. So when people make and roll this cigar, they're actively preserving the history daily.
Right. What's crazy is that, like, I got into cigar smoking way later than Corey. In fact, I didn't do it because I felt it to be taboo based on cultural perspective. But what was crazy is when I did finally jump into it, first off, my first smoke was a mint Java, don't judge. But what was interesting is the minute we started doing tours, the minute we started going to farms and like seeing the process and like even diving into the knowledge and history of cigars, it makes you love them so much more too. It's like the minute you see how something's made, it's like, oh my God, I love the product even more.
Because you see the process, but you see quantity of things that you've never seen before.
Right.
Fields and farms and rollers and volume and millions of cigars. It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
People who are cigar enthusiasts, you got to go check out, you know, the facilities there in Nicaragua. We're about to launch, you know, a very unique factory tour down there. And
that's awesome.
given the parameters now, everything's on hold. But it was going to be a very unique experience. Partially culinary, if I can give you a little secret.
Oh.
Well, I've
trying to now not just say, hey, come on this tour and smoke our cigars and here you go, eat whatever you want. No. Going a little bit further now with the connection of these people. It's being with them, cooking with them, smoking with them, pairing things with them, and making them feel like they are a part of it. That is all I'm going to let you in on, my friend.
That's fair.
As of right now.
Can we just say we'll see you there sometime?
I was hoping you say that because I already have a couple chairs for you on the side over there at our facility. I already got a couple chairs for you over there.
Ready to go, man.
Ready to go.
You know, when we're allowed.
Yeah.
When we're allowed to be there.
But Dave from Cigar Club insists that we need to do a trip together. So
yeah.
We might need to include Big Guy in on this. Otherwise, he might get a little mad at me.
I wouldn't go without Dave. We were actually talking about that a few weeks ago. We were sitting at a lounge, and he actually mentioned that, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm not going to go without you. Of course, I'm going to go with you. Come on, man." I was like, "That would be unfair."
We'll definitely have some fun. I'll tell you that, man. And,
yeah, that'd be awesome.
You'll get definitely a unique experience, and we feel that the detailed orientation of this tour is gonna set itself a little bit different, as opposed to just, all right, come in, come out, come in, come out, come in, come out. Let's slow it down a little bit.
Beautiful.
Let's give them something from over there instead of something that they've been seeing right in front of them. Right.
Absolutely. Love that.
Wine and dine me.
Oh yeah. That's great.
That's never a bad thing, bro.
No.
Make sure people get make sure they get a good time on, that's for sure. And that here in Key West, a lot of people always ask, what's it like living here, man? Just like, I don't know, what do you think?
Dude, Danny, don't fucking turn around. I've seen the background the entire time and it's just fucking driving me crazy. What, you don't like this background? You don't like this white wall behind me and the rain that surrounds it?
Danny's, hey, you know what? It doesn't look that bad.
Danny's got a very elaborate, Zoom, background wallpaper.
I know. Yeah, is that fake?
I promise you it's not a green screen.
I know, I'm super jealous. But you are wearing a fishing shirt, and
Rodriguez. Columbia.
I love the Columbia shirt. I've got a few of them. I fancy myself.
Little performance fishing gear, you know, because we do a little bit of fishing here, you know.
Which I love, because you're often posting stuff where you're on the boat and you're fishing. So I'm an inland fisherman. I fish all the time.
Same. Well,
I got to give a shout out to some of my friends, if I may.
Oh,
shout out to my buddy Jake from Deep End Charter. Shout out to my buddy Jack Walker from Match Point Charters, and shout out to my friend Chris Garcia from Fish Key West. There's all three of my boys that have great fishing charter companies here. And my buddies at Kiko's Place, Neil and Raymond, do a lot of good things, and they help us get a lot of footage and help us get us out on the boat. A lot of our friends and a lot of our people that come down here, you know, we take them out on the boat and show them a great time. And these boys definitely help us out with that. So we want to give a shout out to them. So thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Good shout out, especially being a fellow fisherman. So I've got to ask, what are you fishing for down in Key West? What's your go-to? What kind of species do you get to fish for? And what gear do you use? Because I feel like I've seen you with some fly fishing rods.
Well, yeah, that's not my bread and butter. That's a very difficult thing to do. In fact, I don't do much fly fishing here.
I can't. I've tried.
It's technical, and I can't eat anything on the flats. That's why I don't fish on the flats. Okay,
gotcha.
I can't eat a tarpon. I can't eat a bonefish. Maybe a red, but I can't. You can't eat anything on the flat. They're fun, technical,
right?
But there's not a whole lot of things to eat there.
Right.
We like doing a lot of bottom fishing. You know, I'm not, and I'll be the first one to say you a captain of the boat. You know, we have a lot of friends that are very, very technical in that particular area. I like going on the boat, fishing, smoking cigars, having a great time, going to the sandbars. And for us, bottom fishing is where it's at, and pelagics too as well, which is pelagics are, you know, dolphin, mahi, wahoo, deep water fish. But we do a lot of snapper, a lot of grouper fishing here.
Cool.
Bottom fishing is fantastic. And there's nothing like going out 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning with a boat full of live bait, your friends, you know, and you're trying to catch a memory, okay? You're out there trying to catch a memory, and the icing on the cake is that when you do, boom, okay? We're at the sandbar where there's nobody else around. We just caught hundreds of pounds of fish. We're there by ourselves. We own the island because there's nobody there.
Right.
It's just us. And you're cooking the fish on the island. The sun is setting. Okay? You're enjoying a cigar. That's kind of what we do here from time to time.
Danny.
Yeah, from time to time.
Danny, I need your advice on this, man. So I've tried to fish and smoke at the same time, but what I always find myself doing is not able to breathe because I've got a cigar in my mouth, my rod in my hands, and the smoke is blowing up my nostrils. Is there a technique to fish and smoke at the same time?
Yeah. I'll show you if you come to Key West.
All right, deal.
Boom, deal.
Is that okay with you?
That's good.
That's good. That's good. That's
the best way to answer that question, though.
I haven't figured it out.
Come to paradise and I'll show you, big guy.
I'm basically suffocating while fishing.
I always like keeping it on the side.
Yeah.
Here.
There you go.
And that's it. That's it. That's all you got to do. You know, you're not really smoking. You're mainly holding the cigar.
Right.
You know, and then when you have a break, that's when you can smoke. But we don't smoke cigars and fish at the same time because those three captains that I just told you about, it's action all day, baby.
I would say it's for real, right?
But it looks so badass, though, when you do it.
It's action all day. Yeah, it does look badass when you do it, but, you know, I don't recommend doing it because you might reinvent or invent a new retro hail of some sort.
That's true. That's a good point.
Might come out of your ears.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, yeah. So here's what we'll do. We'll come down. You show us the technique, and then we'll be busy catching fish. That has always been. I've done deep sea fishing. I've done like the craziest of deep sea fishing, like 13 miles off the coast of Hawaii, which was the most
Wow. Okay.
rewarding and terrifying experience of my life.
Wow. Okay. So what'd you get out there? A little marlin or what?
Yellowfin tuna.
Beautiful.
It was
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
That was an experience I'll never forget. It was absolutely incredible, and it was filled with a lot of vomit. So there was we were in swells that were like, even the captain, when we got back in, he was like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm glad we got a tuna. He's like, but we should not have been out there. He's like, the conditions were atrocious. And I was like, thank God you told us when we got back in.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, like, there's days where, you know, you take a look around and you see a couple of your friends behind the boat, and
yeah,
you're questioning whether or not to go home, because there's 2 guys fishing at this point. There's 2 guys behind the engine throwing up, and there's 4 rods in the water with fish on.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, dude, we're not going home. Sack up.
Yep. You got to sack up, take your Dramamine, and let's get rolling. That's
you know
essentially,
what I mean? But
essentially what we did. We were the only boat that entire morning that caught a tuna, and when we came in, they raised a flag for every tuna that you catch. We were the only one in the entire marina. And when we came back in, people were cheering. They were applauding us as our boat was rolling in because our flag was raised. And they're like, we don't know how you did it. Because all of them went out and they turned right back around. They're like, And our captain's like, he basically was like, fuck it, we're getting a tuna. We'll be fine. Because he's used to going out like in February where the water of in Oahu off of North Shore is like really treacherous. So he's used to being like 20, 30, 40, 50 miles out. He's like, we got this. It's all good. And we're all over the side of the boat throwing up. And then we get tuna on, and you don't throw up anymore. You're like, you're ready. You're like, action, let's do this.
I'll tell you a normal day for us sometimes is that we'll leave Key West and we'll be fishing in Central Time Zone.
Holy shit.
Oh my God. Damn.
Yes, sir.
That is awesome.
That's way out there.
That's so cool.
Past the Tortugas, dry Tortugas.
That is freaking awesome.
An island 75 miles or so west of Key West. It's a fort, and very historical fort. Precious waters, reef, beautiful, untouched. Water looks like Powerade. And you drive right past it to what we call Jurassic Park.
Holy shit.
And I'll leave you with that.
That is freaking awesome. How long are you guys out there?
Well, we'll leave the dock at around 5 o'clock, get to the spot around 7:30.
Damn, that's a haul.
Go ham, come back around, I don't know, 6, 7.
Damn, that's a day.
Dead to the world, can't move, begging the good, sweet Lord Jesus not to be too sore to wake up and get out of bed.
That is awesome.
That's what it is down here, man. You know, it's the way of life of, you know, the island, simplicity, you know, purity, and the soul gets really, really tranquil here, man. You know, there's no room for the riffraff that doesn't allow the soul to be tranquil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why this place is so special. It's very, very, very special to grow up in, because, you know, the diversity of people and all of our friends, we are together here. You know,
right.
We watch people's backs, and that's just the nature of this city. You know, you see someone 5 times in a day.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like, hey, bud, what's up? What are you doing? Oh, same stuff I was doing 30 minutes ago, you know?
Yeah.
You know, so everyone's like this here, man. You know, so we look forward to you guys coming on down and showing you guys what life here is about, and the cigar experience, what it's about here, and, you know, how we enjoy ourselves, you know, on this island. And I want to give you guys a shout out too. You know, I've been reaching a lot of, videos that you've been putting out, and you know what, you guys know your stuff. You guys do a great job. Keep things spicy, keep it real to the core.
Yeah.
You guys know your stuff, and it's always refreshing to encounter gentlemen like you that talk about the cigar industry with love and respect, and that's what it's about, man. So big ups to Hot Ticket Pod. You guys are awesome, man, and I wish you guys a lot of continued success, and we see a lot of that for you, man, because you guys are doing it for real. So big ups, man. Straight up.
Thanks. I greatly appreciate that, and it's we feel the same way. And here's what I want to do, because I know your time is limited. I've got some personal questions, but not overly personal to where you won't want to answer them. So we're not going to talk about anything that's going to cause you to cringe. More of interest around cigars. What's your favorite type of cut on a cigar?
What cigar?
That's
Ooh,
a good point.
question. Shit, you just answered my question with a question. I'm not ready for this.
Oh, we'll say like a 70 ring gauge, 6-inch.
I don't smoke 70.
Ah, yes, that's the correct answer. Danny nailed it. Woo! Yes.
I just, it's a preference thing for me. I'm a 46, 52 guy, right around there.
Ronas.
That's just kind of where I'm at.
Same.
I think it's comfortable. But it depends on the cigar, man. What kind of cut. I mean, I'm not going to recommend a V cut on a big cigar. I'm sorry.
Right, of course.
The cigar needs to breathe. But it all depends on what type of cigar you got there. Is it loose? Is it compact? What is it?
True. All right.
Yeah.
This is more complexity out of this question than we've received before. I love the thought process. That is awesome. My favorite answer is the non-answer, and it's great.
I'll tell you what, though. I do love when you have a real good, delicious wrapper. You want to take as little of that wrapper off as possible so that your tongue and your lips touch as much of that wrapper as possible.
And that's a good point. Let me tell you what. I don't use a guillotine on my cigars. I go like this.
Just pull off a little bit.
Right.
I smoke it.
There you go.
In the construction aspect of this, there's a reason why when we do this, because if they construct it the way that we instruct them to do, and they put their triple cap on like we instruct them to do, and the cigar is constructed the way it should be, all you gotta do is just do this. Now, granted, fingernails, cigars, I get it, cleanliness, ethical way is to cut. I get that. But a lot of times people go straight for the guillotine. What if you cut too much off?
Right.
How can you put more tobacco on the cigar?
It's true. It's a good point.
So for me, it all depends on what cigar I'm about to smoke. And if I don't have a cutter, that's fine with me. All I need is a lighter in my life. So obviously you need to cut a torpedo or a figurado.
Yeah,
but
sure. Those, yeah.
That's, I would say guillotines on the type of cigar, feel it out, feel that it's very compact. It's going to be a restricted draw. Okay, guillotine might be the way to go, but I would always start with a V cut, see where it's at. And then if you need to go guillotine, go guillotine.
I like that.
Punch on a big cigar, I'm not a fan of. Punch on a Lancero is interesting. Punch on a Robusto is interesting, keeps it clean.
Right.
Tobacco all over the place. I get that. You don't want that. So it's like this, bro. You know what I mean?
I like that answer. That's a good answer. So that curtails in the next question, because you had said the only thing I need is a lighter. So what's your favorite way of lighting a cigar? What do you use? What's preference? And I feel like I'm
with the
get
wind or with no wind.
Okay, so with wind torch.
You are in.
Let's just say you are in your shop and you're sitting down. You want to light a cigar. What's that preferred method?
Ethical or just light the bitch up?
Just both. Give me an answer to both.
Of course, the cedar, Barla. Of course, the cedar. Of course,
right.
The cedar.
Of course.
Low burn.
Of course, the cedar.
There's
a nice aroma. The flame's small. Impurities, less. You know what I mean? Like less of that. cleanliness, ethical. Yes, but there's hurricanes here, bro. So you need a torch in Key West.
You need that torch, baby.
Yeah.
You need that quad flame out where you're at.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Yeah,
quad
right?
flame is the only way to go when you're on the beach.
So, Danny, if you're smoking a cigar and you don't like the cigar, what do you do with it?
Am I smoking my cigar or somebody else's cigar?
Let's go with somebody else's. I know the answer if it's yours. I know
I
my
don't know,
answer
man.
if it's
I don't
yours.
want to answer this question about if it's not my cigar, man. Come on.
You got
man.
to. It's a general blanket statement.
I just gently put it down.
Gotcha.
That's it. You know, just gently put it down, and that's it. Lay it down. You know,
There you
even flicking a cigar, all that stuff to me, that's like going like that and flicking it. Like I don't know, man. Like I don't like it. You know, just put it down.
Respectfully, put it down. Lay it to rest.
30 minutes tops is all I give it.
Yeah, that's all you can do. You know.
Yeah, I agree. So, in your opinion, what is one of the most underrated regions for tobacco growing?
Well, I primarily use Nicaraguan tobacco, and that's not, you know, overhyped. It's a real deal.
Right.
I've been venturing and hearing some things about tobacco from Peru
Yeah.
and used in certain ways.
Filler.
They say that it can work. I haven't ventured too much, and I'll be honest with you, too much outside of Ecuadorian, Dominican, and Nicaraguan tobacco. Obviously, the Primera Clase is San Andres, Mexican.
Right.
So, son, man, it's for me, it's difficult because mood. When you smoke cigars, do you wrap it around your mood?
I do.
100%.
I do.
So it's like that, general question. It all wraps around what it is that we're doing, how we want to do it, correct?
Right.
When do we want to enjoy this cigar, and what are we pairing, what time of day, et cetera, right?
Yeah.
But-
Can I give a quick point, Corey?
Yeah.
I believe in seasonal cigars. That may sound crazy, but to me, I smoke heavier cigars in the winter and I smoke lighter cigars in the summer. And the reason is because I learned my lesson by smoking real heavy cigars in the heat, and it made me sick. And I find myself, depending on the seasons, smoking specific blends versus other parts of the year.
You answer that.
Yeah. So
I mean, I don't want to smoke a Maduro in the heat, but I'm smoking a darker cigar, and I'm being blistered by the sun right now.
Yeah.
Because, and to the Primera Clase's value, I think it's the versatility. At this medium-bodied cigar, I think it's well-rounded enough to enjoy in different parts of the day, different times of the year.
Yeah.
And I think there's value in that. But what you said, you're 100% spot on, dude. It's all about feeling comfortable.
right.
When you're barreling down and the sun's barreling down on you, you want a Connecticut or a soft natural. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, Danny, I would say this.
I
this
enjoy
cigar-
smoking cigars when it's cold. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Oh,
When
yeah.
it's nice 50, 60 degrees, man. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful right there. We don't get days like that.
Hey, Danny, this dummy, I mean, because we live in Ohio, he was smoking out. It was like 10 degrees outside. And he's sitting outside bundled up smoking a cigar.
Here's a scientific fact for listeners that might be new to this. I have done scientific studies myself, undocumented, online. But here's what I've learned. If you were under 15 degrees Fahrenheit, you are going to experience significant crackling and wrapper tears in your cigar, and they will burn like shit because the humidity inside the cigar with the cold weather, like the extreme cold weather, which is taking it from hot to cold quickly, makes your fucking cigar balloon up so quickly that it cracks the shit out of the cigar.
I don't smoke at 15 degrees, bro.
I know, which is another reason I'm still getting pissed off.
I'm not setting myself up like that, man.
I love it.
15 degrees? Damn, bro. You just made me cold right now.
Yeah, man, it gets blistery here.
Yeah.
That's the, listen, Danny, here's the reality, man. If I find property in Key West anywhere around you, I may just threaten to move because this Ohio weather it's bullshit. It's not fun. It's good now, but man, it's not in the wintertime. It's not as fun.
No, it's not.
It's something, man, but hurricanes are here. It's a real deal. That's a real thing.
It's a
real thing. Pick your poison, bro.
That's true.
much.
That's true. I mean,
cold, tornadoes, earthquakes, hurricanes. I mean, pick your poison.
right. Everyone's got their shit.
Everyone's got something, bro.
I really feel that we're lucky in the fact that we do get, typically, some years are different, but we do get a really healthy amount of all 4 seasons. So you'll get that extreme cold in the winter. We get the extreme hot in the summer, but fall and springtime are like you couldn't pick a better place to be because the weather is so optimal.
Hey, your humidity is what, 60-70%?
Typically,
on average,
typically through those months, yeah. In the summer, it's 100%.
That's beautiful right there.
Yeah, it's in those seasons, it's great. So Danny, I got 2 more questions for you.
Talk to me.
I just asked you about underrated regions for tobacco. Are there any identified regions for tobacco that are kind of new and up and coming? Ones that you may have explored, ones that you've heard about, regions that maybe intrigue you?
You don't hear a lot about Condega tobacco from Nicaragua, the Condega region. And they produce a great, seco, okay? Like the secos that are from the Corojo seed lines, Criollo seed lines that are coming out of Condega are seco and visos. They're pretty good, and that is important because the secos sometimes get overlooked. It's just there to be dry and help with combustion. But what if you can get a high priming of a seco? Your whole blend gets elevated.
Right.
If your weakest link is a bodybuilder, what the hell is the champion bodybuilder looking like in your collection?
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So your liga gets boom. That's one of the things that I've been noticing with some of the things is a lot of tobacco from Condega, especially Seco Viso. But me, I like Jalapa Viso.
Jalapa's great.
I like Esteli Lajero, Jalapa Viso, Jalapa Seco, but you don't really hear a whole lot of Condega. It's Esteli. That's where a lot of the manufacturers got a lot of growing, and high elevation stuff. But Jalapa's got a little bit different of soil, man. It's not as thick, it's a little bit sandy-ish, lighter. You know what I mean? It's very, very, very healthy to get a solid diesel out of Jalapa, man. The dirt there is just a little bit different. And the precipitation and that region of temperature is very consistent. And I think that region of Condega Jalapa for me is a little underrated.
Okay, I like that answer. Last question for you, Danny. If you're smoking a cigar, or I should say this, what cigars are you smoking most often that are not Rodriguez? So what do you find yourself going to? What cigars currently are you smoking that wouldn't be a Rodriguez cigar that you're really enjoying?
I like my father's. Don Pepin Garcia and his family are great people. I had the pleasure to meet them on numerous occasions. And they are, to me, the example of, the industry because they're very humble, very simple people. They are focused on what they want to do, and that is to make great cigars. And that's the biggest thing is they're humble, very down to earth, and it's funny because they're from 20 minutes away from where my family was from in Cuba. And we had the pleasure to encounter such monsters in this industry that are just huge, but carry themselves in a very humble way. And I respect them tremendously, and I respect their cigars tremendously.
Very nice.
Ditto.
Yeah, kind of the same way. I
Ditto.
love my father's cigars.
Yeah.
They're so good. There's
You're great.
rarely a miss. Rarely ever a
Yeah.
miss.
Yeah.
High quality, high rated, just absolutely incredible.
They do it right, man. They do it right.
Except for those foot bands.
Yeah. We always
Dude, we are protecting the foot from getting cracked.
Whatever.
I know
And
that's
it
what
looks sexy, bro. It's
Those
sexy.
satin stupid
That's-
bands I gotta
that's
pull
whatever-
off immediately.
the dude I aroused.
Don't bite your fingernails and you can take it off easier.
That's good. I like that. It's so funny because I put that out there just like last week, and people, dude, it was so, I couldn't believe how polarizing people's opinion of that were. I was like, wow, it's like what kind of monster did I create in asking people whether or not they appreciated foot bands on my cigars? I'm like, what did I do? What did I get myself into? I was like, this is ridiculous. So many people were so opinionated. I was like, oh, Jesus.
Oh yeah, it's something, man. But again, you guys have been fantastic. I want to thank the viewers who take time to watch this. We want to go ahead and just tell you that we have a special promo code that we want to give everybody 20% off of our website, RodriguezCigarsKeyWest.com. And if you use the promo code Familia, you will receive 20% off your order. And we want to thank you guys for giving us the opportunity to be here. Again, you guys are great. And we look forward to having you gentlemen in Key West and showing you guys what life here is all about, man.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And trust me, Danny, this was 100% our pleasure. It was.
Yeah.
It's nice to finally get to see you and talk to you in person.
Look at this.
I know these
I'm a
these
baby in
stars. I swear to God, I can't say enough, and I will, and I'll just continue. Listen, man, I've attached myself to it. I've used the term I'm a dick rider for life. It's just, I may get a tattoo of like 84 somewhere, like on my body, maybe your logo.
Dude, if you do that, I'll buy your plane ticket to come here.
Dude, don't threaten. I swear to God,
I'll do it.
my wife.
I'll do it.
If I tell my wife what I'm getting, she'll be like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm getting it." And then I know
You
what
do
she'll
that,
say.
I'll buy your plane ticket to come here. Okay? I'll buy your plane ticket. How about
Hey,
that?
just wait, man. You're gonna be buying a plane ticket.
I promise you I'm not going to suggest the Mike Tyson thing. We'll just leave it off the face.
I can't do that because I still work in corporate America, so the face has to stay somewhat intact. But everything that's not exposed, we're good. I can put it on my ass cheek. Actually, whatever.
Well, if I can't see it, if you have a shirt on and you're fully clothed and I can't see it, I don't care. I don't want to know where the hell it's at.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, Danny, I greatly appreciate it, man. This was freaking awesome. You're a great human being. You guys make some great cigars. I'm thrilled that we finally got a chance to talk. And
For sure. And I want to throw one more shout out. I want to throw a shout out to my buddy Alex Avila. He's a catcher for the Minnesota Twins right now.
Oh,
and they just started their season. MLB is back in action.
Finally back.
So I want to wish Alex Avila lots of luck getting back now on the stage and playing for the Minnesota Twins. And he's got a great family. Incredible guy, and we wish him the best of luck. So big shout out to Alex Avila and the off-season fishing team right here.
Oh yeah.
And we want to wish you guys good luck, and we're thankful to see you guys back on the TV screen. So
yeah, it's nice. Sports are back, baby. At least
that's it, baby. Let's go.
I love it.
Let's go. All I need
thank
is
you, Danny.
fantasy
This
football, and I'll be a happy man.
I know. Hey, as soon as football gets back, I'm saying the same thing. I'm like, listen, they already canceled the Hall of Fame game, and I'm like, if you cancel anymore, I'm gonna be pissed.
You're a Cleveland Brown fan, right?
I'm a Cleveland Brown.
I had some people from Cleveland in my store today, and I'm gonna tell you this: if Nick Chubb doesn't run the ball the first 2 plays of every drive, Odell Beckham ain't gonna do nothing.
I agree. Well, we need.
No, I'm just kidding. I'll take that back. I can't take that back. OBJ's the man.
He is
OBJ's
the man.
But I just think, and I want Cleveland to win a Super Bowl. I would love to see that. I'm a big
Amen.
fan of what they're trying to do with all these names down there on the team. You know, and it's something. So
We should pray.
Key West,
We should pray for that.
you should be worried about me making a visit to you, brother, because I want to see what it's like in Ohio at the Brown Stadium, baby. You know?
Oh, hey, you know what? Come up in December when the wind off the river's coming up.
Bro, it's 15 degrees. It's 15 degrees. You're not remembering.
It'll be
15 degrees. Let me get September, baby.
It'll be 15 degrees and 35-mile-an-hour winds. That's why our field goal kickers suck so bad. As soon as we lost Bill Dawson, it went to shit. None of them know how to kick and win.
It's all right, but I wish you guys a lot of luck. Thank you guys so much again. Again, 20% off. Rodriguez Cigars, keywest.com, promo code Familia. Thank you guys. I appreciate that.
Danny. You got it, man. Take care.
God
Have
bless.
a great weekend, bud.
See ya.
One love, baby. One love.
Yeah.
All
See
right.
you, bud.
You got it.
Okay.
Hey, cool.
Very
That was a lot of fun.
Very fun.
Yeah, I like Danny. It's weird because I found myself like first smoking the Rodriguez cigars, and I've put it out to the masses. I know this cigar is incredible. I would say definitely take advantage of the promo code.
Yeah, 20% off.
Buy from the site. They are, first of all, they're not expensive. Like his cigars average like $7-8 price range. And they are some literally the best cigars I've ever smoked.
Isn't it crazy when you do control the process how much cheaper the cigars are? It's crazy.
That is pretty wild. And they do, I don't know, man, it's magic. I asked Danny the other day, I said, do you sprinkle a little bit of cocaine in these things? Because I just don't get it. So I'm excited for an opportunity to go down to Key West, and then hopefully once things open up, go to Nicaragua to visit that facility and go with our buddy Dave and just have the time of our lives. So
Definitely want to fish.
oh my God, that is like,
Definitely want to fish.
that's a must for me in the Key West.
Yeah.
Because that is like the mecca for fishing. It was funny because what I wanted to do, which is what he doesn't do, is fly fish for bonefish specifically, because it's a great region for bonefish in the flats. So you take flat boats out and you're literally in like 2 feet of water or less. You take these flat boats out, you can see these pods, these packs of bonefish. They're bright silver, just streaming through the water. They're very agile. They're very quick, they're quick movement. So it's like tie on a fly. The problem with fly fishing is, and this is the hard part about it, is that the difference is you cast with the weight of the line, not with the weight of the lure. I'm used to a spinning rod or a bait casting rod where the lure is what trajects your...
Based on your drag and all
Right.
sorts. Yeah,
So your lure is what casts the line. In fly fishing, the line itself is where the weight's at. So you're casting the weight of the line, which is why it's a little bit more challenging, a little more difficult. It's more technical. Anyway, not that anyone gives a shit, but either way, I'd be tickled to death just to go down there and fish, and then obviously join in Nicaragua. But I can't state it enough, in terms of the history, in terms of the cigar making process, the meaningfulness around what Rodriguez Cigars is doing. I put out a review of the 84 Maduro, and like this was like no connection to Rodriguez at the time. It was like not a biased thing whatsoever at all. Really didn't know as much about the company as I know now.
Just got your hands on.
Just got my hands on him, smoked that cigar, and literally was blown away. The local B&M, one that we hang out at every single week, is considering bringing the cigar line in. And I think just for how well they're made and just the flavor and for the price, the value that you get with the cigars, it's an absolute, you can't miss, in my opinion.
I'm all for the whole like dine and smoke thing, but I will say, if he's like, the thing is, I've eaten tobacco, so if he plans to serve tobacco, I don't know, bro. Like that's really tricky because people are gonna get sick.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And what do you do? Like, do you saute it? Do you grill it?
I guess you do maybe a salad.
Yeah. Maybe there's multiple ways.
Maybe tobacco with vinaigrette might be a little bit more soothing on your belly.
Yeah. Yeah, not as disruptive to your digestive system. I do feel like it's probably pretty high in fiber, and I already have a very active bowel system.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how that's going to work, and I don't know that I want to be shitting my brains out in Nicaragua,
Yeah. Yeah.
That could be a challenge.
It'd make for a good story, though.
Yeah, for everyone else.
It's like, you remember that time I ate that tobacco salad, shit myself?
Shit for 7 days straight.
Shit and puked. 3 days.
Yeah. Anyway, that was an awesome interview, awesome time. A little envious of Danny's location. We were chatting on the phone earlier, and he was like, yeah, I was thinking about going out on the boat, but it's too windy. I was like, please don't fucking do that, because it's just gonna make me mad.
I'm not convinced that was a real background.
Yeah. The flowing trees.
I know he said it, but that's just a really high quality looped video.
Yeah, I agree. And then he just had like a fan that he would kick on oscillation.
It's like, oh, the wind.
The
knocking
wind.
over
Oh, geez, the wind.
knocking over the lid of this.
It's just a
of this
fucking
little box.
pedestal fan just sitting on the
You're
corner.
not fooling anybody, Danny.
Yeah, very awesome. Super stoked to do that interview. We've got more interviews coming up. We're going to keep doing the Zoom format. We'll do one for next week. We have a really, really special guest on next week that I'm tickled about all of them. They're all fucking amazing. I get even more hyped week after week, as you can tell. Next week's is one that is very, very, very unique, because it's not somebody who is interrelated to cigars from a manufacturing standpoint, but certainly someone that has a lot of knowledge around cigars and that has contributed to certain things in the cigar community over a period of time.
Awareness.
That I think is definitely awareness. That is going to be absolutely awesome. So I'm tickled to death that we've got that coming up next week. So that'll be a release that we have after 4th of July, that next Monday. And I think we have a review after that. And then we've got like 3 more interviews after that. So we just keep lining them up. We're knocking them down. And we hope you guys are enjoying the content.
Yeah, can we do a high five where it's like split screen and I like put my hand
But
up?
I'm like the opposite way. Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
My arm looked really good right there.
Dude,
look at that.
My arm looks pretty good. Hold on.
Love it. Thanks everybody for listening, for sure. You can visit our show sponsors website, mycigarpack.com. Enter promo code HOT10 at checkout, and it's $10 off your first pack. And I keep saying I know what's coming in upcoming packs, and I know what's coming up in August. And August packs are going to be fucking great. Alex keeps just obtaining some fucking incredible cigars. So stay tuned for the July and August packs. There's going to be some hitters, so don't miss them.
I thought it was because of the stickers.
Stickers are out. I still have people hitting me up, sending me their address. And here's the thing.
Now we know where you live.
I have some to send. We're not completely out, but I've reserved some. So I'm not just like blasting them out. But that first initial 50 is gone. They're already out there. People have received them hopefully by now. So thanks everybody who sent me your address, send out the stickers. They should be in your possession. If they're not, sorry, I wrote down your address wrong and they probably went to your neighbor. So I apologize. It may cause some confusion for anybody who's received them and has no fucking clue what they are. Also visit our website. We've got reviews that are coming out consistently and often. Just did a review on the Espinosa Crema, which I will say is a Connecticut shade cigar. Not my favorite type of cigar, but I will say the Espinosa is fucking pretty awesome. So check that review out, www.hotticketweekly.com, along with all the other fucking reviews that we've done. There's a shit ton on there, tons of content. You can watch all of our videos, the whole thing. So cheers to a Friday.
Hold on, we go cheers.
I don't know. Bing, that's really weird that because this is
That's
technical,
technically it, yeah.
But this looks correct. So thanks everybody for listening. This will conclude, I don't know, episode 156, which is really strange to say. Can't believe we've gotten this far and that we're still alive. That in and of itself is a feat, really. Actually, more so you than anyone.
It's a miracle.
It is a fucking miracle. So thanks everybody for listening. We'll be back at you next week with episode 157. See you everyone.